residue, steam coming out of it. Behind that stood the South Tower, so you can picture exactly where the towers stood. They left a space open to see almost the entire towers from the water and from New Jersey. And as we come up parallel to it, you'll see exactly what I mean. But the World Trade Center, folks, was much more than the famous Twin Towers. It's actually a 16-acre campus, and on it there were 7 buildings with a unified look to them. Now, between those towers was a beautifully done 5-acre plaza modeled on Piazza San Marco of Venice, Italy. There were sculptures throughout the area. Performing venues where people would often linger after work to listen to music, and on a nice weekday you'd find thousands of people sitting out in that plaza at lunchtime enjoying the open air, having lunch outside. Beneath the plaza was a huge shopping mall, a big parking garage, and a major transportation hub that included many train lines out to New Jersey, as well as many subway stops underneath. So it was a large, self-contained campus with a unified look to it. 50,000 people worked in just the Twin Towers themselves. Now, folks, on 9/11, the first plane came from the north, which is where the Empire State Building is. So up to our left, that's where the plane came from. From that direction, right down over the heart of Manhattan, and directly into the North Tower. The second plane also came from the north, but that one was out here over the Hudson River, and it went down beyond where our boat is located, banked around and came up and hit the South Tower coming up from the south. And the cold hard fact of that is that it was quite an extraordinary move by the pilot of the second plane to pull off that dreadful maneuver. Now, when those buildings collapsed, folks, they fell down into the 6-story deep foundation, became known, of course, as Ground Zero. The workers that worked there, however, called it the pile. And you see where these boats are docked over here to our left, the North Cove. A couple of firefighters came out of the pile over here to the North Cove, and they took an American flag from a boat that was sitting there, and they took it back to Ground Zero and raised it up. There's a very famous photograph of the firefighters putting up the American flag in the rubble of Ground Zero. Now, people still call it Ground Zero, of course, and they will for quite some time to come. I refer to it that way on occasion myself, but I really would suggest that it's quite a bit more accurate to call it now the new World Trade Center site, because the term Ground Zero expresses the idea that there is nothing there. Zero, the absence of anything. And that's not true anymore, because now it's a site of construction, so therefore also rebuilding, renewal, and rebirth. And you know, it's quite interesting, the lead architect's an immigrant. He came from Poland to the Bronx, New York City, when he was a young man. Daniel Libeskind is his name. And the centerpiece of the new site is to be the world's tallest building, and they call it the Freedom Tower. Now, they assigned a symbolic number for the height of it, 1,776 feet tall, which equates to 1776, the date of the Declaration of Independence here at the U.S. So, again, it's to be a campus of buildings, 4 other buildings, and a unified look to them. But there will now be 2 additions. 1, a performing arts center, and 2, the memorial. And that's to be called Reflecting Absence. And that's designed to sit right in the footprints of the old towers and go down into the ground with waterfalls running along the sides of them. So it's scheduled for completion in 2009. So we hope if you come back to New York in 2010 or later, you'll find a transformed Lower Manhattan with the world's tallest building, the Performing Arts Center, and the memorial. Now, we're cruising along what's called Battery Park City in this lovely residential area here. Has a very interesting origin. When they dug the hole out for the original World Trade Center site back in the 60s and 70s, they used the earth that they dug up and created a landfill with it, extending the island. This walkway you see here goes the whole length of the island, 13 miles up the west side of the city. You can rollerblade, bicycle, jog, walk, what have you, along this great west side walkway. Finally, folks, we're coming back to historic Pier A. As you can see, it's been neglected for quite some time, pretty badly beaten up. New York Waterway recently acquired the rights to work out of this pier. Now, this has been many things over the years, including part of the fire department of New York. They launched many heroic rescues using their firefighting boats coming out of this pier. And this is where they brought Charles Lindbergh after his great solo flight across the Atlantic. You can picture it. He walked off the pier across the park to Broadway for his congratulatory ticker tape parade up what they call the Canyon of Heroes of Lower Broadway. Very thrilling events in New York, ticker tape parades. So, as I say, we are rather new here, so I know we're not yet in a lot of the tour books around the world. So I'm very glad that you found us and came out, however you did. Hope you've enjoyed the tour. I'd love to show the city off a little bit for you. And just one last thing, folks, if I may, before we finish up, I know we do get travelers that come on the boat from all over the world with many, many different customs. And I'd like to let you know that here in New York, the custom is that a tour guide is part of the service industry. We're just like taxi drivers or waiters, and that it's part of the incentive to get us to do a good job. So if I give a good tour and you enjoyed it, I greatly appreciate your generosity. I'll be out front here to thank you individually as we leave the boat. Now, thank you all once again collectively for coming out, and I hope you have a terrific time here in the Big Apple, New York City. Thank you very much, folks. Thanks.